episode 1 of a little weekly roundup. Don't want to call it a mini podcast, but it could well turn into a podcast. Slothboxx, James Lupton joined my co-host Lyndon Dixon. Lyndon, you've been out on the road for me, getting his interviews.
I have, mate. Yeah, been loving it.
So yeah, just a case of us have a little chat about the last 7 days and the big news from the week. So we'll start with this weekend's Liam Williams, Chris Eubank Jr. Firstly, let's start with the first 4 rounds.
Mate, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I genuinely, because I was watching it with my mate and I was saying, I think that Williams is going to go there and try and outbox him. And so I thought he was going to at least, I didn't expect him to get knocked down that many times so early. It was a massive shock, mate. And he lost me a fiver and all.
Well, you're saying that. I saw somebody on Twitter, I can't remember who it was now, but they had a little bet on 66-1 Williams to be dropped in round 1 and round 2. So he had a tiny bit of profit. But yeah, I mean, the first 4 rounds, Eubank was the best I've ever seen him. Yeah,
mate, I can't believe it. You compared to his losses against Groves and Saunders to that performance. Yeah, I guess Williams ain't on that level, but he was quality. Eubank really looked quality.
What went wrong for Eubank after that? Or did it go wrong? Did he just take this for the best thing? I don't need to gas out here. I don't need to put my all into it because I'm so far ahead.
I watched an interview after the fight and he said that after that, I think he said he hurt his hand, but he was just, he said he wanted to embarrass him and that, but I don't think so. I think Liam's a lot tougher than he thought it'd be. How many times did he knock him down? 4 times. And he came back each time. So when you're, like you say, it's gassing Eubank, you'll be gassing out a little bit. And I just think, I think he just held off for those final few rounds. And I don't think he minds showboating either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the last round, it was sort of continuous. He shuffles, it's goading him. It comes to a standstill at one point. I think Liam Williams was a bit pissed off.
Yeah, just hands on his hips. Yeah.
I mean, the disrespect there. I mean, let's be real. Chris Eubank Jr. is a villain. He is playing up to the crowd. He loves that role and that character.
He does love it, mate. He loves it. He loves being the Joker, the person that people don't like. And I'm just thinking, if that was me, I'd be thinking, why don't you like me? But he loves it. Like you say, he loves being the villain.
I mean, almost to an extent, his dad was a showman. He's very cocky. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Very arrogant in that sense. And he's just sort of almost carried on in that vein.
Yeah, it's in the blood, mate.
Absolutely. I mean, what do you make of obviously he's with Roy Jones Jr. now, and last night, so many shouts on Twitter, oh my God, he looks just like Roy Jones Jr. now. Did he?
I think you need to, if you watch the fight again, you telling me he looked like Roy Jones Jr. Maybe the one that got beat by Enzo Macaronelli, I don't know. But no, I think that's a bit of a reach, a proper reach in there. I get it if you're his fan and that and you want to big him up, but have a day off. A prime Roy Jones Jr. is one of the greatest boxers of all time, mate. Eubank ain't there yet.
Yeah, I mean, whoever's making those shouts, calm down.
Yeah, take a breather, mate. Have a little sleep, go back, go home and rewatch the fight the next day.
I mean, it's a good win for him. He moves on. He's still calling out Golovkin, the fight that should have happened in 2016.
Yeah.
Is there, I mean, there's still going to be interest there because people love Golovkin.
Yeah.
He's still a very, very good fighter. People try to catch boxers at the end of their career to try and get that win. Can Eubank do that? Could he beat Golovkin now?
Oh, I can't see it. I really can't see it, mate. Golovkin, I don't care how old he is. It's like Pacquiao. Even Pacquiao, towards the end of his career, was putting on good displays of boxing, even if he was getting the odd loss here and there. And I think Golovkin is going to be in that same sort of category. And I think, from Golovkin's point of view, is he going to make the most? It's towards the end of his career. Is that Eubank fight going to give him the most amount of money? And I don't think Golovkin will want it. It's a bit pointless for me. As a neutral, I think it's a bit of a pointless fight for Golovkin. But then again, you say that, I think Golovkin's levels above Eubank, and I think it would just be an easy few rounds for him. I think he'll stop him straight away.
I mean, you mentioned there about the money. It's just potentially a payday for him. I mean, to be fair, with Sky and Boxer, could they throw a few quid at it to make a massive pay-per-view event for him? Because it would still do well pay-per-view. People will buy it to see Eubank lose, and people will buy it to see Golovkin win.
Exactly, mate. No, you've hit the nail on the head. And like, in terms of pay-per-view, that's the perfect sort of fight, as you say, for Sky to get back on the old pay-per-view thing. Yeah, perfect. Put a decent card on it. I'll probably pay for it still. Like, I know I'm slamming it a little bit, but yeah, I'll probably still be paying for it, mate.
I mean, you say get back on the pay-per-view horse. We won't go into too much about it, but they have got Carnbrook coming up fairly soon on the box office. But we'll discuss that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the audience will have to wait for that.
Absolutely, we haven't got long enough for that. What do you make of the Conor Benn call out? The catchweight, the Eubank Ben rivalry rekindled.
I'd love that. I think it sounds stupid. It's just, but I think if they was both the same weight, like naturally, I think it's Ben every day. But stepping up, I don't think Eubank will come down, but Ben stepping up, depending if that's his first fight at middleweight, that's going to be a hell of a fight. But if Ben's a champion at middleweight by the time they come across, oh, mate, take my money now. I'll pay in advance. Take my money now. I really want to see that fight. I think if it's on Sky, I want to see the dads have a gloves are off, mate. Let alone Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. The build up to that fight will be mental, mate.
You say that. I mean, for me, I think it's a case of Conor Benn's throwing Eubank's name out there to keep himself not relevant, because he's very relevant right now. But
no, yeah, I know what you mean.
Name swirling. But I tell you what, Eubank Senior and Nigel Benn gloves are off. I mean, mate, I'm all in for that. I am all in for that.
Yeah, bloody hell. But the size of that fight, British, whether it's going to have the world appeal, I don't know, but just British boxing fans alone, that's got to be a massive stadium fight in Wembley, surely.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think it'll ever happen. You know, I think the weight is...
Really? You don't think it'll happen?
Too much weight between them. You know, you're looking at 147 to 160. Eubank's not coming down. Eubank's been at 168. He's not coming back down to 153, for example. Yeah. Conor, has he got much more to go further in weight-wise? I don't think so.
He looks so good now. Like you say, it'd be taking a lot out of him to get that big, in my opinion, anyway.
I think for Eubank to come down and Ben to go up, you'd lose all of their...
Yeah. There won't be a physical peak. They both will be on the edge. But then again, that'll still be fun to watch. If it is at catchweight, like Ben wanted, if Ben puts them on and Eubank loses some, that will still be interesting, because then they've both lost a little bit. Do you know what I mean? In their physical peaks. So yeah, either way, if it's catchweight, middleweight, welterweight, take my money. I'm there, mate.
I think, do you know what? It's one of those. The name's still relevant in boxing.
Yeah.
From the 90s, you're going to have the older generation for nostalgia going to watch, who have been to see the seniors, the dads fighting. They're going to want to go and see their sons fight. You got the casual market who obviously bought into their names, who follow Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. throughout their careers because of their names. And then you got, the hardcore fans, because let's be fair, Conor Benn is improving every single fight. Eubank Jr., he's a fringe world level fighter.
Yeah.
So, like you say, it probably does sell out in the UK fairly easily.
Yeah, definitely, mate. But whoever's going to have that, I wonder who would promote that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but would Hearn want that, or would boxers try and nick it? Do you know what I mean? It'd be interesting to see which way it goes.
Let's take it down to a purse bid and see if they can beat Frank Warren and Slothboxx.
Oh, bloody hell. That would be funny.
Co-main event last night. Claressa Shields. Not so much about the fight. Obviously, dominant, won every round, fine. Yeah. As expected, we expected her to win. But the fireworks afterwards, Savannah Marshall.
I love that sort of stuff. I love it.
A side of Savannah we've not really seen before.
Isn't it? Yeah. I've always thought of her thinking, she's quite quiet, but she gets it done. But last night, like you say, mate, she let it all go. And I love it. I hope when that fight does happen, she lets it go even more. A little scrap at the way. And I don't mind that, mate. I don't mind that. But yeah, they both gave it a bit. And in terms of the actual fight, I can only see it going one way, and that's a Savannah knockout, mate. She'd knock out a lot of men, mate. She's got freakish power. She's like the Tyson Fury of the women's scene. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, let's say they fight. It sounds like it's going to happen in June, as long as Savannah wins her fight next month. Now, whoever wins that, there's nowhere really else for them to go apart from another division. So why not sign a contract for a trilogy?
Exactly, mate.
Let's get 3 fights signed. Let's see, best of 3. Who is the best out of the 2 of you?
Exactly, mate. And even personally, they're both going to make a lot of money from that. One in the UK, one in the States, and the third one, I don't know. But it's perfect. Like you say, there's not really much left for him to do after that. But, mate, just even, I couldn't believe Ben Shalom last night when he was like, well, you've only got 1 loss on your record, and that's to Savannah Marshall. Mate, I couldn't believe it. Like, when I've seen him in person, he seems just like a nice bloke, nice, quiet lad. And I just was not expecting that to come out of his mouth. Mate.
How do you think Carissa Shields is feeling right now? She's just signed a co-promotional deal with Boxer. Her new promoter, Ben Shalom, has turned around and gone, right, I've just signed you. Congratulations on your win just now, but you're going to lose your next fight.
Exactly. I couldn't believe it.
He might as well turn around and say, listen, I'm going to give you a paycheck now to lose. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
What happens with that relationship after the Savannah Marshall fight? Is Shields ever going to come back and fight for Boxer again? I don't think so.
No way, mate. I get, from a sales perspective, I get he's trying to sell the fight, but that was the wrong thing to say. Like you say, that relationship, besides money now, that's gone. That live on telly, right after she just won. She just outclassed her opponent, and he says that it was disrespectful, in my opinion. But at the same time, from a neutral perspective, I loved it. I couldn't believe he said it.
Does that show the rookie side of his promotional career? He's still early on. He's been in it a few years. He's the youngest promoter in the UK or the world, maybe even. He's not been around the block, let's say. I think that showed a little bit with that comment.
Definitely. Like, could you imagine Frank Warren saying that, or even Eddie Hearn stood next to a fight was just signed? I don't think so.
I mean, he wouldn't have said that. Let's say, for example, Anthony Yard, Lyndon Arthur, both his fighters.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have sat there and said that.
Exactly, mate.
The only real comparison, the closest thing to that, I suppose, would be back when he backed Dubois over Joe Joyce, but he had them both.
Yeah.
But
he didn't necessarily go that far. Like, his comments weren't. It's like we say, the circumstances. Clarissa just won. She'd done very well. She gave herself an A- in that performance, and he says that. Like I say, I couldn't believe it. But it's going to be interesting to see the build up for that now.
That shows her expectation levels as well in herself, because she gave herself an A- for winning every single round. The only she could top that was by stopping her, which she felt the ref should have done for her.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. To be fair, like, she looked not necessarily out on her feet, but she was losing. Like you say, Shields won every round. The ref could have just pulled that earlier because she was taking some damage, mate, especially in those later rounds.
Absolutely. A few hours later, over in America, Eddie Hearn was promoting his show. Late replacement Jesse Bam Rodriguez steps in for the Rat King to fight Carlos Cuadrado. Now, he's gone up 2 weight divisions. He's 19 years old. He's only signed with Matchroom last week.
I know.
He's gone, do you know what? I'll step in. Now, this is a classic case of be ready at all times. Take your opportunities with both hands. He has stepped in. And to be fair, you could probably say, well, to win, he's got to knock out CUADRAS.
Yeah.
And he's not. He's gone to scorecards and beat him well and convincing. And
exactly, mate.
Dropped him well as well in the fight early on. I mean, what a breakout performance that is for him, and what a shrewd signing from Matchroom.
Yeah, like you say, a week later, and he's just done that. I mean, I saw earlier he's the first world champion to be born after 2000, and that's crazy for him to, at that level, like you say, stepping up the weight. I didn't see the fight myself. I saw the knockdown, and what a beautiful knockdown it was, mate. That the slip into orthodox. Oh mate, it was crisp. It's the perfect technical knockout. Do you know what I mean? He didn't throw loads of power. It weren't a barrage of punches. He just perfectly picked that right hand. And like I said, I know you saw the fight. I didn't see the fight. But how did you think his performance was on a whole?
I think you could see in him he wasn't feeling any pressure. He felt comfortable in there. Like I mentioned earlier, he's gone up 2 weight divisions against a world-class fighter. You know, he's not gone in and taken an easy fight at a weight. Don't get me wrong, he's only 19. He would have grown up and gone to that division eventually. But to go there now, I think he was 14-0 before the fight. He's gone 19 years, yeah, do you know what, I'll jump in there. I mean, his older brother is a world champion already, Joshua Franco. He's obviously taken inspiration from him and gone, do you know what, I want that as well. Why wait until you're 24, 25 years old? Why wait until you're 20, 30 fights in? Chuck yourself in the deep end. Let's see how good you really are.
Yeah. He saw the opportunity and he seized it, mate. And I made up for it. I can't, for someone to do that, like you say, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of balls to step in at that short notice. Yeah, he's fit, but still, you then got to think, all right, what's my game plan going into this? Just for a week. Do you know what I mean? And he did the business.
He really did. He really did. And be interesting to see what he does next. Obviously, got the title at the weight. Does he stay there now, even though he's gone up 2 weight classes?
Yeah.
Does he drop back down because he's with the WBC? He will now be the #1 contender at a different weight class. So it's interesting to see where he will go now with his career. But like I say, Eddie Hearn seems to have a gem in his hands.
Ain't it, mate? All the doors are open for him and for Hearn. Like you say, either any of the weights, really. He's shown he's got the power. He's got the class moving up. And he's definitely got it staying where he was. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Also, a big talking point throughout this week has been, well, the silence of Dillian Whyte. So, obviously, Dillian Whyte, he wasn't best pleased with the 80-20 purse bid split against Tyson Fury. We know Frank won the purse bid, and Dillian's still going to make, what, is it 6 to 8 million, something ridiculous?
Yeah, 6 to 8 mil.
Now, I mean, you can't really moan about that, can you?
No, I spoke to Jordan Gill the other day, and he was saying, like, it's not an 80-20 split of 100 grand, is it? It's a lot of money he's going to be getting. But I've seen that there's rumours, I don't know how true it is, but he hasn't even signed the contract yet, even though the purse bid's been done. But I don't get it. It's not like Whyte. Whyte's normally very upfront. He says what he thinks, but he hasn't said anything.
I mean, is that because some people are saying it's because obviously it's going to be promoted by Frank Warren and Top Rank? He doesn't need to sell the fight. He's not a Frank Warren fighter. He doesn't need to promote this. He's just got to go to camp and get the job done. Now, we just mentioned Bam Rodriguez taking that opportunity. That opportunity presented itself. Now, listen, Dillian has been the WC mandatory for about 42 years now, right? he's finally got his shot.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
He's finally got his shot, and now he's moaning about 8 mil.
Exactly. Come on, mate. Don't grumble at that. Do not grumble. You think of some of the other fighters in the division. If they said, yeah, you're going to fight Tyson Fury, but you're only going to get 8 mil, they'd snap your hands off, mate. Any other fight in the division, bar Joshua Wilder, they're going to take that. And I don't know why he's not. Like you say, when you've been mandatory that long, and you've been calling out Fury that long, and then you get it, and you're just squandering it, you just sat waiting. I think he's going to be a fool, because there'll be a point where the contract won't be signed and Fury will just move on, and he might not ever get that fight.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's not bad money for 36 minutes work. So
exactly, mate. You think how much people are paid an hour? The national average, about £10 an hour. And how much is he going to get for half hour?
Exactly. You get his camp involved, but he's a professional athlete. Yeah. Used to that. That's going to cost him money, but it's going to cost him, 10, 15 grand. Take out your 10% for your team. Listen, you're still taking them clearing 5 mil, 6 mils.
Easy, easy, mate.
It's a no-brainer. Like I say, that for a boxer, the pinnacle of your career is fighting for a world title and winning a world title. You're never going to win a world title if you don't fight for a world title.
Exactly, mate. And the thing is, say he beats Fury, yeah? he's then going to be the bloke getting the 80%. I
Yeah.
don't see what he's grumbling about.
Earn your spot.
Yeah, believe in yourself as well. It looks like he's thinking, oh, shit, can I actually do that? From an outside looking in, it's like, take the fight, the one you've been calling for how long, mate? Just take it. Stop waiting about. Get the gloves on, mate, and have a scrap, because it's going to go, mate. Fury won't wait around forever.
Absolutely. So I'll touch on a little bit about Ryan Garcia. Comeback seems to have been announced. Emmanuel Taguay. I mean, it's an all right fight.
Yeah.
See him come back. We want to see him mix it at a top level. He's still very, very young, obviously, and so talented. And obviously, good to see him come back after issues of mental health. Good to see him back.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely.
And the road to recovery as such. Were you wowed by the news?
Oh, I wasn't expecting it, but at the same time, I get why people would complain about the fight itself, his opponent and that. But how long has he been out the ring now? Like, it's been too long. So he's taken on a fighter. Yeah, people may not have heard of him. He may not have done much, but 32-1, that's not too bad for a comeback fight. You know, get rid of the ring rust. I haven't got many complaints about it, and I hope he does well, mate. Like you say, he's had some mental struggles, and to get back in the ring, it will be a big feat itself, whatever the result is. So I'm happy for him, but I hope we aren't waiting as long for the next fight. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Finally, move on to betting tip of the week. It's a little bit of fun. Have a little tip for who you think or what you think will come in this coming weekend. We've obviously got Danny Jacobs versus John Ryder at the Ali Pali on the 12th of Feb. Anything that you sort of fancy on that card at all that you've picked up on? What would you favour? If you was to bet and have a little flatter, what would you have a flatter on?
Oh, well, it'll be on a Johnny Fisher knockout, wouldn't it? That's the easy money. Whenever Johnny Fisher's fighting at the minute, whatever you can spare, just put it on him, finishing the man opposite him. I think that's the easiest one of the weekend, in my opinion. What about yourself, mate?
I think with the main event, Danny Jacobs, John Ryder, it's a good fight.
What a fight that is, by the way.
I'd say
great for the pair of them.
And I'd say it's fairly close to 50-50. I'd edge towards Danny Jacobs for his experience at the world level and championship level. But, you know, John Ryder's not, you know, done himself any harm at that level either previously.
Yeah.
I would have a little look at that fight going a distance. Danny Jacobs hasn't stopped nobody since 2016. And he's very experienced to go the distance. Don't get me wrong, John Ryder's had a few stoppages in his last few fights. However, they're not on the level of Danny Jacobs. So I think I can see that I'm going a distance. That's my pick for the week.
Not a bad one.
Well, hopefully. We'll see if it's right.
Fingers crossed, mate, yeah.
Next episode, this coming week, there's quite a bit going on. We'll be at the press conference for Danny Jacobs, John Ryder. Yes. We'll be at the press conference for the Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano press tour. So there'll be a few bits to speak about next week, and we'll see if our bets come in.
They better, mate. If I'm putting money on the fight to go the distance, you better be right, mate.
I mean, listen, as always, gamble responsibly.
Exactly. When the fun stops, stop.
Absolutely. Well, look, I mean, we'll wrap it up there. Episode 1 of our little weekly roundup, Slothboxx. We'll be back again next week, and we'll take it from there. Lyndon, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, mate. I've loved it.